Well, as always, we have a featured segment with MSD, and this month is no exception. We're here with the CEO of MSD, Mr. Tony Parrott. And, as we said before, a lot is going on, and we really appreciate everything that you're doing to help us stay a first class city.
You know, Louisville has a lot of amenities and a lot of economic opportunities. And I think we have an opportunity to, during this period that we're going through with the pandemic, to build back better and also to be able to make sure that we're addressing a lot of issues that are going to help us during a recover from the civil unrest in our city. Louisville is home to, the bourbon industry and also the horse racing industry. But more importantly, a lot of businesses see Louisville as an opportunity. And so the one thing that we know that we have to do as we move forward is to make sure that those that are normally underserved or normally not at the table, normally not having opportunities, there has to be a way that we have conversations to make sure that we're including all residents of Louisville into the rebuild and the economic opportunities after COVID-19.
You know, Tony, that we are in uncharted territory right now. And what I mean is we're facing a pandemic and we are in the midst of demonstrations and protests for Black Lives Matters. But two things I keep hearing a lot, but that is equity and justice. So what is MSD doing to meet these challenges in the workplace?
Louisville is going through civil unrest and a lot of it around equity and also police brutality. And I can tell you that, as a black man, I feel the pain and the sadness that I have in my heart because I've experienced a lot of institutional and systemic racism for my entire career. And so it's very important from my perspective, and I think the board of MSD's perspective, to make sure that we're doing a couple of things. One is that we recognize that there is an opportunity for change and having great conversation, not only in our community, but also internally. And internally, we've started to do that to make sure that we could bring folks together and have courageous conversations about racism and learn from each other and grow from our discussions, and where appropriate, making sure that we can make changes and eradicate policies or procedures that historically have been a barrier for economic inclusion or even opportunities for persons of color or minorities. And that's the conversations we're having inside our organization.
Tony, along those same lines, something that always comes up is diversity. And what is MSD doing to make sure that diversity is a part of the workforce?
Well, I think there's a couple things. I mean, we have always been very open to making sure we're recruiting the best employees that we can and making sure there's career paths and opportunities for all. And what I can say is that in the last few months, MSD has brought on a equity and compliance officer whose role is to make sure that we dig into those areas that we need, as I mentioned before, to have the courageous conversations or to look into areas where there may be historical complaints or issues that need to be addressed, or where there may be policies and procedures that need to be adjusted to make sure that we have more economic inclusion and also more equity within our utility.
So, Tony, I do know that MSD works with a lot of suppliers. So what advice and guidance do you have for individuals who do want to work with MSD?
Well, there's all sorts of opportunities, whether you want to work for MSD as an employee or if you want to work for MSD with one of our vendors or contractors. Recently, our board policy for economic inclusion for our construction and professional services contracts has been launched in June of this year to add more space and opportunity for certain classes of the community, particularly African American, Caucasian women, and Asian Americans that have had disparate use in terms of opportunities to do work with MSD. And so going forward, there's an opportunity for those companies to get more involved. And then secondly, we also have a local labor utilization policy, which requires our contractors to commit to a level of using local labor.
Well, Tony, that is some great basic information, something that we can easily apply. Yeah. And as always, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to spend some time with us. I know it's very difficult for you to do, but if you can, find an opportunity to take a break, get some rest. We'll take a quick break and back with more right after this.